see here is my N64 collection that I gathered when I was in high school, when I was an avid video game collector, and the N64 was my favorite console to collect for. Some of my favorite games are on this console, and I already did one video showing off some of the games that I had, but now that I have the rest of them, I thought I'd show you the full thing, as I eventually plan to part ways with these, sell them just to, I never play them anymore. They're kind of just for memories, nostalgia, but now that I have everything with me, I think it's best that I all get rid of them all together in Chicago. So, I have 170 games total, including these boxed games. All the cartridges that were in the boxes. None of them were mint in the box, so we just pulled them out and threw them with the rest. We have The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Collector's Edition. It's one of my all-time favorite games, of course. Favorite soundtrack, favorite story. It's when I saw it in the shop, box and all, could not get it. We'll just kind of whiz through all these games here. Starting with these, we got Gauntlet Legends, Mickey Speedway USA, we got Wet Tricks, and all these boxed games also have their original manuals, and most of them have their little cartridge baggies as well. We got Nuclear Strike 64. We have Knife Edge Nose Gunner, basically the same game as Nuclear Strike 64. We have Destruction Derby 64 by THQ. And of course we have the infamous Superman 64, the old faded box. I found this at a yard sale. Doesn't surprise me that nobody wanted it. So, we have those out of the way. We'll kind of work our way row by row here. They're kind of organized somewhat, so we'll start out with more of the well-known Nintendo classics here. Like this very worn-out copy of Ocarina of Time. This is my very first, well, it wasn't my first game, but it was the first game that I was very attached to. And it's very rare and one of a kind, not only because of all this green muck here that was made because of those blow pens that you got from those infomercials back in the day. But as long as I can remember, it had this faded label, unlike the other Ocarina of Time. And I always saw that as kind of didn't really think much of it at the time, but I'm pretty sure it was a manufacturing error, which makes it even rare. And of course I have a second copy of that, Ocarina of Time Collector's Edition, the gold cart. It's the one that comes with the box there. So we have Zelda Majora's Mask Collector's Edition with the hologram label. We have Super Mario 64, Dr. Mario 64, Paper Mario, Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf. Out of all the Mario parties here, we got Mario Party, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3. Mario Party 2 is my favorite of those. We have Super Smash Bros. We got some of the Pokemon, of all the Pokemon games actually. I have 2 copies of Pokemon Stadium. This is the original, but it was kind of glitchy, so my brother bought a second one, and it ended up being just as glitchy. We have Pokemon Stadium 2, better than the first one. Pokemon Puzzle League. We have Pokemon Snap. And we have Hey You Pikachu, which is definitely the worst of the Pokemon games. Now we have Rareware games. We have Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, the sequel. I personally prefer Banjo-Tooie over Banjo-Kazooie, but Donkey Kong 64 is probably my favorite of all the Rareware games. Of course, we have Diddy Kong Racing, which I actually like more than Mario Kart. And we have Conker's Bad Fur Day. Go through some more classic Nintendo. We have Yoshi Story, Star Fox 64, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards. All three of those games I played a lot of growing up. We have Bomberman 64. Bomberman 64, The Second Attack. It's one of the rare titles and more expensive ones on the console. Glad I snagged a copy. We have Bomberman Hero. Mega Man 64, which is one of the worst Mega Man games out there. Gex 64. We have Gex 3, Enter the Gecko. And Glover. Rayman 2, The Great Escape. Don't know what happened to Rayman 1. Tonic Trouble, which is like a lame ripoff of Rayman, but made by the same people, so what do you expect? Earthworm Jim 3D, the game that infamously killed the system. We have Rocket Robot on Wheels, underrated platform. Mischief Makers, also an underrated game. Jet Force Gemini, it's popular, but I was never a big fan. Buck Bumble, more Rareware games. We have Perfect Dark, which I never really played much. GoldenEye 007, classic. And then 007, The World Is Not Enough, which was made by EA Games instead of Rare. We have Resident Evil 2, Mission Impossible, Winback, Covert Operations. We have Quake and Quake 2. The Quake series is really good, but they're not that great on the N64. We have Turok Dinosaur Hunter, Turok 2 Seeds of Evil, and Turok Rage Wars. There's actually a third Turok game, well, Rage Wars being the fourth in the series, but I never found the third one. Daikatana. We have Castlevania, Duke Nukem 0 Hour, Armorines, Hybrid Heaven, Shadow Man, Body Harvest, which is made by the people who went on to make Grand Theft Auto. We have Blast Corps, Space Station Silicon Valley. We have Quest 64, Gauntlet Legends, Forsaken 64. We have Battle Tanks Global Assault, Battle Zone, Rise of the Black Dogs, Knife Edge Nose Gunner, and Nuclear Assault 64. We have StarCraft 64, Command and Conquer. We have Rampage 2, Universal Tour. Still need to get Rampage 1. We have all the Army Men games, Army Men Sarge's Heroes. We have Army Men Sarge's Heroes 2, property of Blockbuster, and Army Men Air Combat, the green carts. We have Pilot Wings 64, which was one of the two release titles for the N64, along with Super Mario 64. Iggy's Wreckin' Balls, the bad label. I have very distinct memories of renting this at Blockbuster as a kid, and it was a very surreal game, but looking back on it, it hasn't aged very well. We have Paperboy, getting into some of the Namco puzzle games, Robotron 64, the new Tetris, Miss Pac-Man, Maze Madness, Namco Museum 64, Space Invaders, Tetrasphere, Wetrix, Worms Armageddon, another rare title on the console, Bust-A-Move 2, Charlie Blast's Territory, Load Runner, also property of Blockbuster. I have all the Mortal Kombat games. I have Mortal Kombat Trilogy, Mortal Kombat 4, and Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero. We have Killer Instinct Gold, Flying Dragon, getting into the fighting games here, Deadly Arts, Fighter Destiny 2, Fighting Force 64, Mace the Dark Age, not a very good game, Biofreaks, and War Gods. So shove all those in there. Alright. We have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. There's actually a third Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game, but I never found one, and it was actually the last game ever released on the N64. I have all the South Park games too. South Park. It's a game where you throw snowballs at turkeys. It's not very creative. South Park Rally, which is like a racer, and South Park's Love Shack, which is a game show game. I have all the Star Wars games. We have Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, Star Wars Episode 1 Battle for Naboo, and Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Rogue Squadron is my favorite of those games, but none of them are anything special. Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine, not a good game, but not as bad as, of course, Superman 64, which, yeah, enough said. Superhero games, we got Spider-Man, which was actually a pretty good game. Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, not a very good game, and not as bad as Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. We have Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction. It's a fun little beat 'em up. Duck Dodgers, starring Daffy Duck. I actually remember renting this as a kid too, and it was a whole lot of fun. Very simple. A Bug's Life, getting through all the Disney games here. We have Tarzan. I have 2 copies of Toy Story 2. This one is the original, and I acquired this one in a bundle. Just held on to it, but I actually thoroughly enjoy it. It's my favorite of the Disney games. We have Mickey Speedway USA, developed by Rareware. Lego Racers. Now we're getting into a bunch of the racing games here. We have Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. There's a lot of racers on the game, but not all of them are bad. There's a lot of good ones other than Mario Kart and Diddy Kong. F-Zero X is a good one. Wave Race 64. Snowboard Kids and Snowboard Kids 2. I actually played this one a lot. This one actually might be my favorite racer on the N64, but it didn't sell very well. Now they're kind of a rare title. We have Penny Racers, Revolt, MRC, Multi-Racing Championship, Stunt Racer 64, Beetle Adventure Racing, Automobili Lamborghini, San Francisco Rush Extreme Racing, San Francisco Rush 2 Extreme Racing USA. I guess it's not really San Francisco Rush if it's USA, you know what I mean. Roadsters, we have Road Rash 64, Carmageddon 64, it's a very stupid game. Cruisin' USA, Cruisin' World, there's also Cruisin' Exotica, which I never found. Top Gear Rally 2, and Top Gear Overdrive, all basically the same game. Kind of with some space racers, Extreme G, Extreme G2, got Aero Gauge, and Wipeout 64. Most of these games are labeled, but there's a few of them that are a little fresh that I never got to. Now we're getting more into the sports games here. I never was too into them, but we have WWF WrestleMania 2000, WWF No Mercy, WCW versus NWO World Tour. We have Milo's Astro Lanes. We have Brunswick Circuit Pro Bowling, Excitebike 64. We have Jeremy McGrath Supercross 2000, NASCAR 2000, Off-Road Challenge, Destruction Derby 64, Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey 98, Polaris Snowcross, 1080 Snowboarding, NFL Blitz. We have NFL Blitz 2000, Madden 64. This is actually the first sports game I think I ever played. I've had this for a long time, but didn't really get it a whole lot as a kid, just messed around. We have Madden 2001. We have Madden 2002. We have All-Star Baseball 2000, In the Zone 98, and FIFA 98, Road to World Cup. So there it is, my entire N64 collection. All the games are now scattered amongst. Yeah, I think I like admiring them as a whole rather than actually playing them. A lot of these games I probably played once just to test out the cartridge, just to make sure it worked, and then never played it again, which is understandable for a lot of these sports games and racers that are nothing special, but I gave an honest shot to a lot of these platformers, you know. The Gex series was never a big fan of. Glover's okay. Rocket I played a fair deal of. Mischief Makers. Alright. Hope you enjoyed this video. Got to see a lot of games that strike some interesting nostalgia in you. This is one last look at part of my childhood. Most memorable games being here in the Nintendo series, like the Zelda series, the Mario series, Pokemon, all these Rareware games like DK and Banjo, Kirby, Yoshi, a lot of that. Yeah, it's been a good run. Thanks for watching.